Petyr Baelish, known as Littlefinger, is one of the most intriguing characters in Game of Thrones. He's quietly powerful, a clever manipulator, sharp-tongued, and more than slightly creepy. Littlefinger has said that he tries to keep his foes confused by his actions, and watching Game of Thrones you may be pretty confused yourself. Petyr has betrayed Ned, snogged Sansa, killed Lysa, and been competing with Varys in a dramatic stare competition for 4 seasons now. What's he trying to achieve? Who is this guy? Unlike most of the major players of the Game of Thrones, Littlefinger comes from a small and unimportant noble family which holds a piece of land here, at the Fingers, one of the Little Ones. Because of his father's friendship with Hoster Tully, Petyr was lucky enough to be raised at Riverrun, growing up with Edmure, Lysa, and Catelyn. Lysa loved Littlefinger, but Littlefinger only had eyes for Cat. When Catelyn was to be married to Brandon Stark, young Petyr went so far as to challenge Brandon to a spectacularly unsuccessful duel which left him scarred in more ways than one. In any case, Brandon got himself killed by the Mad King, Catelyn ended up with his brother Ned, and Littlefinger never won the love of his dear Cat. These events shaped Petyr as a man.
Do you know what I learnt losing that duel? I learnt that I'll never win. Not that way. That's their game. Their rules. I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to fuck them.
He learned that to get what he wants, he has to be indirect and strategic, using tools more subtle than the sword. So it was his political and financial brilliance and his friends in high places that drove his rapid rise up the ranks to the position of Master of Coin, basically the treasurer, for King Robert, who managed to spend the throne into debt despite the huge amount of money Petyr was bringing in. Petyr used his power carefully, buying up property and businesses like brothels, establishing a network of spies, and placing men loyal to him in useful places. And then Season 1 begins, with the death of the Hand of the King, Jon Arryn. We find out in Season 4 that the killer of Jon Arryn was his wife, Lysa. Littlefinger got Lysa, his childhood friend and the woman who's still devoted to him, to poison Jon, and then tell her sister Catelyn that the Lannisters did it. When Catelyn comes to King's Landing to tell Ned about the attempted killing of Bran, which was possibly ordered by Joffrey, but we don't know, Littlefinger lies and tells Catelyn that the dagger used was Tyrion's, leading Cat to capture and wrongly accuse the dwarf. Meanwhile, Petyr helps Ned uncover Jaime and Cersei's incestuous secret, but when Eddard confronts the Lannisters, Petyr betrays him, and soon Ned's dead. All 3 of these moves were deliberate attempts by Littlefinger to create conflict between the Lannisters and the Starks. And it works. Petyr Baelish, indirectly, without implicating himself, started the War of the Five Kings. But why? Petyr says that
Chaos is a ladder.
Littlefinger is using the chaos of war to gain power. For example, in Season 2, Littlefinger negotiates an alliance with the Tyrells. This alliance saves the Lannisters in the Battle of Blackwater, so Littlefinger is rewarded with the castle of Harrenhal and rule of the Riverlands. With this higher status, and again because of the war, Littlefinger is sent to marry Lysa in order to secure the military support of the Vale, just about the only region untouched by the war. So he goes and marries the woman who loves him, and then he kills her. With Lysa gone and Jon Arryn already dead, Robert Arryn is the only thing standing between Littlefinger and control of the Vale. Wouldn't it be terrible if sick, frail Sweet Robin somehow had an accident? On his way out of King's Landing, Petyr does 2 things. He helps kill King Joffrey, and he takes Sansa Stark. He helped kill Joffrey, presumably to create more of the chaos that he's been doing so well out of, but possibly also to gain favour with the Tyrells, now one of the most powerful houses. But why did he take Sansa? It's obvious that he's attracted to her, and whether you want to call that love or some kind of creepy-ass pedo shit, it seems to be related to Littlefinger's love of Cat. He's projecting his love of the dead mother onto the daughter. Yeah, it's really more this, isn't it? So that's one reason Petyr takes Sansa, but there's another. As the last known living Stark, Sansa is the key to the North. Whoever marries her becomes the Lord of Winterfell, and has some claim on the North. Of course, Sansa is already married, so her current husband Tyrion would have to die for her to marry again. But how could the brother of the Queen possibly die? Littlefinger, by the way, was the one to arrange this little entertainment, which succeeded in creating public conflict between Tyrion and Joffrey just before the king died, helping to frame Tyrion for the murder and be sentenced to death, freeing Sansa up for marriage. Or it would've if Tyrion didn't escape. Anyway, so at the start of Season 1, Petyr Baelish was Master of Coin at King's Landing, with this little nowhere as his official seat. Now he's sitting in the Eyrie, probably the safest place in Westeros, with control of the Vale, of the Riverlands, potentially of the North, and with the embodiment of the dead woman he loves in an obsessive Gatsby-esque kind of a way. Without lifting a sword, he has won the two things he desires: power and Catelyn. Of course, both of those things come with fairly large asterisks. He has Catelyn only in the form of her daughter, and his control of these regions is doubtful. I mean, he has no army, no sworn lords backing him, no love from the small folk, and a ruin for a castle. But he does have the crown backing his claim, at least on the Riverlands, so that's got to count for something. In any case, he's a long way from where he was before, and he did it by creating and exploiting the chaos of the War of the Five Kings. The question now is, what next? It's hard to say. We've never had a Littlefinger point of view chapter, and we only really see his actions indirectly. Maybe he'll settle down. Or maybe on a ladder, the only way to go is up. Thanks for watching this video. If there's interest, similar videos on other characters could follow. Who do you want to see explained? You can support this channel by subscribing and sharing and following on Facebook and Twitter.